Jean Sue, Energy Justice Director and Senior Attorney at the Center for Biological Diversity and the lead author of a new petition about all of this. So thank you, Jean, for joining us. Walk us through why this matters, especially now.
Thanks, Anna, for having me. Why this matters, I think everything that you just showed in the last 5 minutes illustrates why this matters right now. We are at only the beginning of what is predicted to be another record-breaking year in terms of extreme heat and basically climate-fueled disasters generally. What we saw last year was a horrific record-breaking year where around 1,200 people died, although that's a severe underestimate, and thousands more experienced extreme heat conditions that carry on to today. What we did this year is try to preempt and basically get the federal government, and in particular the Federal Emergency Management Agency, to recognize extreme heat and wildfire smoke as major disasters to help states and local governments with funding for common sense measures to help people from dying and passing out from extreme heat and wildfire smoke.
Now, looking at today alone, there are, tens of millions of people facing temperatures above 90 degrees across multiple states here in the U.S. So when we talk about this disaster declaration, if the goal is to boost the resources to the areas facing this major disaster, how would this actually work, practically speaking, when you're not just talking about something fairly isolated to one state or one region?
Yeah, absolutely. So because this is an ongoing issue, we're advocating 3 sets of measures. But the first is the most common sense. So it is erecting community resilience centers that have water stations in them. And then in wildfire smoke areas, air filtration systems that you actually can breathe clean air. And the really important parts of these stations, whether they are temporary or permanent because you build them in a public building that exists, is that they are walkable for worker communities and especially communities of color and low income communities who may not have cooling or air filtration systems at the ready. So the idea is to create these resilience centers and then actually place them strategically in the areas and neighborhoods that need them the most. But in addition to that, we are actually looking at more long-term solutions as well. One of the consequences of extreme heat is that grids are actually buckling right now in terms of electricity. So extreme heat is frying up power lines and actual electricity grids, and that's leading to rolling blackouts, which means that people won't have electricity to run that life-saving air conditioning or air filtration system. So we're advocating for community solar and storage, which we know from Puerto Rico to the southeast, those have been, if you have a solar on your rooftop, you are able to keep your electricity going and basically withstand these disasters.
Interesting ideas, possible solutions. That's what we like to hear. Jean Sue, thank you very much for taking the time.